Make sure you have headsets. Are we ready?
Yes, I'll use.
Are we ready to start? Do we have Jeff Go in the room? Jeff Go? No?
I speak English.
No.
During the question and answer, I'll use this.
Can we start now, please? Please, can you check the microphones and the headset? Can you check the microphone and the headset? Our interpreters, can you check the headset, please? The technicians, please, can you check the headsets for the assistants? Can you check the headset, please? Est-ce que vous avez peut-être ça? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, so I think we're going to start now. The way we're going to do it is that I'm going first to introduce Nelly Mina. Okay, Nelly Mina is going to be the moderator for this session. This is session 1 actually. If I'm right, session 1 is going to be, Nelly, can you help me out please? Session 1 is going to be about, so this is section 1 actually, breaking through how digital platforms and economic equity can have the potential to drive the social and economic revolution among women and youth, entrepreneurs and leaders. This is the topic we're going to deal with now. So it's my pleasure to introduce Nelly Mina, because I just know, I knew yesterday. Okay, I helped her pick the cab yesterday to go back buy some fabrics. Mina is actually Mercy Corp's Regional Gender Advisor for Africa, where she provides technical support and gender equity and social inclusion to country programs in the region. Over the last 15 years, Nelly has gained intensive experience on gender equality and women's empowerment issues in Africa and Asia in sectors such as education, health, food security, youth, livelihoods, and protection with international organizations. It's my pleasure to introduce her. So, Nelly, please, can you come over?
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwajo. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope we're ready to get started to this very exciting session. And Dr. Kwajo has shared what the theme of this session is. And I just want to start with a story. I know you all like stories as Africans. So I'll tell you a story today. So 15 years ago, there was a young woman who saved some money, and she had heard about AGOA. So she went for this forum to see if she could get more information about AGOA, because she had this brilliant business idea. So when she went for this forum, she soon realized that she was a small fish in the room. There were other bigger businesses by lots of men who had these large businesses, well connected, and the organizers of the forum were more interested in them. And she was later told to go back, start her business, and come back when she was up and running and had a larger business to take advantage of AGOA. Now that woman was me. Okay? So as a woman, I will tell you that we do face quite a number of barriers in terms of some of our initiatives in terms of tapping into opportunities that may be there for us. Now, women experience more barriers to accessing finance compared to men. I think this we know, which is really rooted in a lot of factors. In 2016, the African Development Bank did a scoping study in 6 countries: Kenya, Cameroon, Morocco, Mali, Zambia, Nigeria, and they found some significant findings. One is that the financing gap, the financing gap for women in Africa stands at 42 billion US dollars. In agriculture alone, the financing gap for women stands at 15.6 billion USD. Apart from that, we have issues around high value collateral demanded by banks, high loan interest, inadequate financial literacy, just knowledge like around initiatives such as AGOA, banker designer products for women, which only target the larger businesses. And yet we know that there are many women involved in the smaller businesses that have potential to grow. And the government can do much more to expand gender financing. We know the Maputo Protocols, where there was commitments for agricultural financing, but also increased financial credit for women on the continent, and that was many years ago. Access to internet and the technology products has the potential to open up a lot of opportunities for women. And in Mexico, the organization that I work for, we have shown that technology can be used to overcome many of the gender barriers, and we're going to hear a little bit about that today. Over the past few years, Mexico has gained significant experience around women's economic empowerment. We would like to share with you about what we're doing. And we have a strategy that for Africa that focuses on championing the young African leader and catalyzing the potential of women and adolescent girls by using technology and innovation. Now, instruments such as AGOA, as well as the WGDP, the Women's Global Development and Prosperity Initiative, are here to enable the race for young people to take this continent forward. We have the potential to do this. Now, the question for all of us here today, and I'll ask you to think about this and we'll get answers at the end of this. How can we tap into these initiatives that are here for us? We don't know how long it will be available. We do have a rough idea, yes, but how can we tap into this to support our young people? Now, today we are privileged to have a notable and dynamic panel with us who will contribute to this discussion around the theme that we have today: digital platforms, economic equity, focusing on women and young leaders. So without much ado, I'm going to invite our first speaker. This is Lucy Kyoko. Lucy Kyoko is the agriculture manager for AgriFin in Mexico. AgriFin is a multi-country complex program that looks at supporting smallholder farmers access various products and services in order to grow their agricultural participation within value chain. So Lucy, you're most welcome. You tell us more about what you do.
Thank you. And I've just seen somebody from Nairobi who is my neighbor, and our children have actually played together. Hello, Joy. Thank you so much, Nelly. As you've been told, I work for a program within Mexico called AgriFin. And AgriFin is actually made up of two projects. One is AgriFin Accelerate, funded by MasterCard Foundation, and AgriFin Digital Farmer, funded by the Gates Foundation. And the objective of these two projects is to reach 1 million farmers with digital information and digital financial services. And out of this target that we have, 50%, we are required to reach 50% women, but we have a silent target of reaching the youth. So we work in 6 countries with these two projects. So 5 countries, that's Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Nigeria, and Ethiopia. And what we do, if you look at this slide that is on the screen now, we use a market facilitation approach where we work with core partners, and our core partners can be banks, financial institutions, mobile network operators, agribusinesses that are buying produce from smallholder farmers. And these core partners are required to have a digital information or digital financial services, and preferably those two working together, digital information and digital financial service, to reach farmers and ensure that they get the tools that they need to power their farming. So we work with our partners and we link in other partners like the technology, agtech, fintechs, to accelerate the uptake of these particular services by farmers. And we do this by becoming thought partners with our core partners, where we look at designing the product appropriately. Nelly has talked about banks designing products that do not resonate with smallholder farmers. So we work with our partners so that they can design within the context which farmers exist. And then we also work with them for delivery channels. Where do farmers actually get the service? If I'm using mobile money, where do I go and cash out? And then we also talk about how do we build the capability of farmers to be able to understand how to use these services and how we're going to become a better farmers. We're also using something else. We are investigating the use of alternative credit scoring mechanisms. We know if you're a small farmer, and especially if you're a woman, you're trying to go to a bank to get a loan, there's so many barriers. They will ask you for your husband's permission, maybe they will ask you for collateral, title deed, which you don't have access to. Can we use something else so that our farmers can, without too much barrier, can access the credit that they need? Let's move on. So we have tried briefly, I'm going to share some of the models we are using to deliver digital information and digital financial services to farmers. There are many of them, but I'll only touch on one, the first one, which is by Safaricom. Safaricom is Kenya's biggest MNO, our biggest telco. And besides just offering, voice and text and M-Pesa, does anybody know about M-Pesa? Yeah, if you've heard about M-Pesa, it's the biggest mobile money transfer service in Kenya and in East Africa, and I believe even in Africa. Now, besides offering that, they thought they could offer other services to their customers, such as farmers. And that's where we got together, and we are still developing a platform called DigiFarm, where farmers using their mobile phone, a basic mobile phone, you join in and you can access content. You learn how to become a better farmer, maybe to how to farm potatoes or look after your poultry. And once you are a good farmer, you need an input. You can generate a voucher using your phone, and then walk to a DigiFarm outlet, input shop, and collect your input and pay via mobile money. And if you do not have money to pay for your input, there's another service provider within the platform who is providing credit, digital credit. So as a woman, and they're using alternative data, your M-Pesa transactions, the way you buy your airtime, you can qualify to get a loan, and then you can collect your input from that particular store. We do not give cash, because cash can be diverted and then you don't invest it in your family. Now, why are we talking about women? And these models DigiFarm is in Kenya, but in Zambia, In Zambia, there's a bank called Bank Zanaco, which has decided also to replicate DigiFarm. Now we have DigiFarm by Nemeno, but DigiFarm now by a bank. And so why are we talking about women and digital platforms, and why should we care about women? We know women are farmers. It's up in developing countries such as Cote d'Ivoire and Kenya. Women make up 80% of the farmers, and globally, women provide 43% of the agricultural labor. But they are left out, as Nelia said, from information from the inputs they need. And when a training is called, maybe to train farmers how to grow cotton better, it is the man who will dress up and go for the training because it's an important occasion. And when that man comes home, if he's like my husband, you ask him, how was the meeting? Fine. What did you learn? Not much. And please get me go on and get me a cup of tea. And that is the end of the discussion. But tomorrow that woman will go to the farm and try to grow potatoes or to grow cashews, which will be exported through AGOA. So if she does not have the skills, she's been left out. How will she meet the requirements of what AGOA actually requires? So that is the woman within the context of agriculture and all the inputs she needs. Therefore, women are also very, very important in the AGOA sectors, and you find them as cotton farmers, and they are contributing raw materials to the textile industry. You find the women in cashew, in horticulture, in coffee, and because they are being disadvantaged, we thought maybe we can investigate using digital platforms, where a woman can learn at home, at her own pace, and see if with other support, such as an extension worker, they can be able to walk this journey of becoming a better farmer. So what we are doing with our partners, for example, with DigiFarm, to be able to provide services in the context within which women exist, is we realize that DigiFarm, which now has over 1 million farmers, that women, the women who are actually taking up the loan, for example, were only 20%. And we went back to ask why is this happening? And they said we are afraid to borrow, or we cannot borrow without, and our husbands don't know, but we prefer if we could save forward. So we are working together with Safaricom to develop a wallet to help the women farmers to save forward and then go and buy their inputs. And I've talked about alternative data. In Zambia, the alternative data they are using is contract farming, where the woman is given a contract by a buyer, and that contract helps that woman to get an input loan. She can go and invest in her farming, and then the agribusiness can buy off the cotton for export. So what do we need to do as AGOA to help women navigate digital systems and to navigate the agricultural sector is that, AGOA has provided an opportunity to empower women and improve their incomes and livelihoods. But we need a lot of investment, especially in training, in building and researching on the use of digital tools, and even as well as how women can be able to take up the information and services. So therefore, we need to make our supply chains a lot more gender sensitive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucy, for that description of what AgriFin does and how it's reaching smallholder farmers. Hopefully that they'll be able to tap into this large resource that we have. Next, we have Rita Kimani. Rita Kimani is probably an example of how digital platforms and women's entrepreneurship can actually make a difference. She's a young computer scientist. She's also the co-founder and director of Farm Drive Africa, a growing enterprise that has the potential to really support the entire continent in terms of the initiative. Rita, you're most welcome to come and share with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As you've been told, my name is Rita Kimani, and I am a computer scientist. That's my background, but I also co-founded a company called FarmDrive, and at FarmDrive, I know you're already wondering what we do at FarmDrive, but FarmDrive is a fintech company that offers digital financial services, and more specifically, credit to smallholder farmers and also other agribusiness SMEs. And as Lucy was talking, as she was talking about DigiFarm and that platform, we are the partner that is providing the digital financial services on that platform. But just to tell you a little bit about how we started and founded this company. I founded FarmDrive with a very dear friend of mine about 4 years ago. I met with Paris Bosirio, who is also a young woman like myself back in campus. And surprisingly, we had very similar backgrounds. We both grew up in the rural parts of Kenya and came from communities that really depended on agriculture for their survival. And interestingly, we also shared a lot of the same vision and passion that we viewed technology and computer science as a tool that we use to solve some of the challenges that we saw around us growing. So that's a little bit of a background of how we started the company. And even after graduating, and we both graduated as among the top students in a class that was predominantly male. I think the ratio was about 1 to 8. For every 8 men, it was one lady. We graduated top of the class, and even had offers in large organizations to go and we worked briefly with those organizations, but our hearts were really at how can we really come back closer to build solutions that will help solve some of the challenges that we saw facing around us. And I think it's all known that in as much as the farming communities are really struggling, but agriculture is really one of the best tools to actually elevate poverty and ensure continuous and sustainable economic development. So really our hearts were still at how can we build solutions for our communities. And that's what led us to quit our well-paying jobs and found FarmDrive. And as I mentioned, FarmDrive, we're offering digital financial services to smallholder farmers and agribusinesses. When we started off, financing in agriculture is a known problem. And as Lucy was already alluding to, you'll see that if you really wanted finance, you would need to show collateral. It's even worse for women and young men who and the youth who actually not own the pieces of land that they farm on. So for us, we were really thinking about how can we use technology to solve this problem. And when we started off, we really were focused on how can we use alternative data, because we know a lot of women and youth have been financially excluded, so it's not like they will have the credit histories that banks rely on to actually make lending decisions. So we went out looking at what alternative data can we use to actually do the risk assessment, and we're looking at data that ranges from just knowing who the farmer is, looking at with the mobile money penetration in Kenya, we look at how you've been transacting on your mobile phone, how you've been utilizing other telco services. We combine that with data on just understanding agriculture, the markets, what crops are doing well in what different regions. And we have these rich data sets that we are using to actually do the risk assessment and determine how much we should actually be lending to the farmers. So we've ended up building a whole, while we started off with a lot of focus on just using alternative data to build credit scores, we quickly learned that to successfully lend to a farmer, or for you to make sure a farmer is productive, then you need to make sure that you're designing the right loan products for them. How are they accessing those loan products? That you have the digital tools that they can easily just get their very basic phones and dial a number and be able to get onto the platform and apply for the loans. And we have a mix of, there are some loan products that are cash loans, there are others that are voucher-based, as Lucy was alluding to. And so the farmers are able to, from the comfort of their home, to actually just get onto the platform, register, apply for a loan, and we do automated risk assessment and determine how much and what product a farmer qualifies for. They're able to get that and either receive mobile money directly on their phones, or they're also able to get a voucher that they would go to one of the outlets that we work with to get access to inputs. And in terms of paying back the loan, it's again a very easy process where they would, from wherever they are, they would just be able to pay back their loans via mobile money. And that in a nutshell is the kind of technology that we built to support the work that we do. And so far we've been running for about 4 years. DigiFarm is one of our main products, but we also have a trade finance product that is specifically targeted to agribusiness SMEs. That could be the local input supplier or agro dealer that is selling products to the farmers, because we quickly realized that if you really want agriculture to work or you want the farmer to be successful, you need to make sure that everything else around them is working. If they have the money and they're not able, they can't access quality inputs because the shop is not able to stock, then they won't really succeed. So that's we slowly learned that we'd have to invest also in the ecosystem or other value chain players to make sure that the farmer, when they need inputs, then they have access to that. When they've harvested and now they need to sell, and they have traders who are well financed to actually offtake the products from them. So far, over the last about 4 years, we've managed to disburse loans worth about $1.3 million. And that's still just a drop in the ocean, because when we look at the statistics, we need to be pumping in at least $40 billion into the agricultural sector just in sub-Saharan Africa. So there's still a huge gap, and our plans and hopes is that we'll continue to expand beyond Kenya. Currently, we are just working in the Kenyan market, but this very same need cuts across many of the other sub-Saharan African countries that depend on agriculture. And our plans and hopes are that we'll be able to expand and bring these solutions to other countries. And I think just as I wind up, is just to talk about, like, if you asked me 5 years ago, would I ever have imagined that I would be an entrepreneur, I would be doing the work that I do right now, and really, or even just some of the challenges that we've gone through as young women in a very male-dominated industry, trying to innovate, and some of the challenges around accessing finance is still a challenge. But we're grateful that some organizations like Antua, one of our investors is seated on the panel, so she'll talk more about some of the work they're doing. But it's still difficult for especially young women entrepreneurs to raise finance. It's really difficult to work in this male-dominated industry where sometimes you're literally in a business meeting and you're just expressing facts and contributing to whatever discussion that is going on, and the old age things that women are told, just because you're passionately talking about the things you care about, you're told you're being too emotional. Those are some of the challenges that I thought were just things that you'd read about, they happen to other people, but you come to experience them. And it is my hope that as AGOA, we're going to really work towards making sure that the environment that even women work in is really constructive. They are able to get access to markets, they're able to get access to investments to build their organizations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, I will again say that Rita is a co-founder of Farm Drive. She's also a UN Young Leader for the Sustainable Development Goals and the Solution for Youth Employment Young Youth Advisor. Thank you so much, Rita. It's always a pleasure. Okay, now we're going to welcome another presenter who's going to be Mr. Jean-Patrick Euma. Let me just say a few things about Mr. Jean-Patrick, who is a 2014 YALI alumni, CEO at Kendewa NGO and promoter of the Shells the Code Women Program and a member of the American Chamber for Commerce. Euma is developing the tech and entrepreneurial skills of young women to contribute to their livelihoods and their communities. So, Mr. Euma, thank you for sharing the experience with us.
Bonjour à tous. Alors, je suis le seul francophone. Je vais faire plaisir à tous ceux qui parlent français. Je vais parler en français. Et je pense que la traduction va être faite en anglais pour ceux qui parlent anglais. Je suis Jean-Patrick Euma, comme l'a dit notre MC. Je suis à la base ce qu'on appelle un architecte logiciel, donc mon travail consiste à concevoir des solutions logicielles pour différents domaines tels que la banque, l'énergie, les médias. J'ai fait ce travail pendant plusieurs années, donc vous pouvez imaginer tout ce qui concerne les applications, les logiciels. Et en 2008, je me suis lancé en tant qu'entrepreneur en région parisienne. Et après, je suis revenu ici aussi en Côte d'Ivoire. J'ai essayé de faire la même chose, sauf que j'ai échoué parce que ce n'était pas le même environnement. Et puis voilà, tu peux être bon en Occident et être mauvais ici. Voilà, ce sont des choses, c'est une réalité, il faut l'admettre. Et dans cette dynamique, je me suis lancé avec AGOA, l'organisation non gouvernementale que j'ai initiée avec d'autres jeunes Ivoiriens. On a fait des choses. En 2013, j'ai été honoré par l'UNESCO en obtenant le prix d'entrepreneuriat des jeunes et la culture de la paix pour l'Afrique. Et dans la foulée, j'ai eu l'opportunité de faire ce programme YALI, Mandela Washington Fellowship, initié par le président Barack Obama. Et un an plus tard, je me retrouve à Nairobi face au monsieur, président des États-Unis d'Amérique, qui, en tout cas, j'étais à Abidjan, on m'a fait savoir que le président des États-Unis veut que tu viennes à Nairobi pour son retour au pays. Donc moi, je pensais que j'allais être parmi les participants. Sauf que j'arrive là-bas, on me dit non, mais en fait, le monsieur veut que tu prennes la parole après lui. Donc c'était, vous pouvez imaginer un peu dans quel état j'étais. Alors, donc j'ai fait ce que j'avais à faire et je me suis dit, wow, si aujourd'hui j'ai l'opportunité de côtoyer des personnes comme ça, si Dieu m'a permis d'arriver là, il faut que je fasse 10, 20, 20, 30 fois plus. Et dans cette dynamique, je me suis dit que, bon, vu que tu n'es pas un très très bon entrepreneur ivoirien, africain, j'ai échoué, quand on échoue, c'est qu'on n'est pas bon. Tu pourrais utiliser ce que tu sais pour apprendre aux autres, pour qu'ils soient peut-être meilleurs que toi. Et après, je me suis souvenu que dans mon enfance, c'est ma mère qui m'avait appris à utiliser l'ordinateur pour la première fois. Et que je me souviens aussi qu'à l'époque, ça coûtait assez cher pour se connecter à Internet. Et elle n'hésitait pas, en tout cas, à financer mon transport de Marcory jusqu'au plateau, au centre culturel français, pour que je puisse apprendre à utiliser Internet, qui est devenu, je dirais, la base de ma carrière. Et je me suis dit, wow, si je repique quelqu'un comme ma mère, je pense que ça ira beaucoup plus vite. C'est comme ça que j'ai eu l'idée de créer She's the Code, pour qu'il y ait des personnes comme ma mère qui puissent apprendre à leurs enfants ou aux gens qui sont autour d'eux à utiliser l'ordinateur. Alors, She's the Code est un programme qui permet de former les femmes. À l'époque, quand je l'ai mis en place en 2016, il s'agissait seulement de jeunes filles de 18 à 35 ans. Et depuis cette année, on a étendu. On travaille aussi avec des femmes qui sont en fonction, des femmes entrepreneurs. Alors, on les forme pendant 6 mois. On apprend pour certaines à créer du code informatique. Donc, pour celles qui veulent un jour créer des logiciels, des applications. Pour d'autres, on leur apprend à utiliser le digital pour vendre en ligne, pour promouvoir les produits et services, les marques. Et pour d'autres encore, on leur apprend à utiliser ces technologies-là pour leur aventure entrepreneuriale. Okay. Et à ce jour, nous avons formé un peu plus de 1000 personnes sur plus de 12 000 personnes qui étaient venues vers nous. Il y a un processus de sélection qui nous permet de déterminer les personnes qui sont en tout cas plus aptes vis-à-vis de nos capacités, parce qu'on n'est pas si bon que ça. Des personnes qui sont plus aptes à être formées par nous et à être accompagnées. Ce qui est intéressant avec She's the Code, c'est que pendant qu'on est en train de former, et même avant, on discute avec des entreprises, on collabore avec des entreprises pour avoir des positions, des postes, voilà, des postes pour les dames qui vont être formées. Parce qu'en réalité, ce qu'il faut savoir, c'est que c'est très très difficile pour les femmes d'évoluer dans le domaine des technologies. Déjà même, c'est difficile pour les femmes sur cette terre. Je ne suis pas une femme. Non, mais attends. Je ne suis pas une femme, mais je sais que ce n'est pas évident. Hein. Regardez, on est en train de parler de femmes et digital. Regardez le nombre d'hommes qui sont intéressés, pas beaucoup. Hein. Pourtant, quand les hommes sont en train de faire leurs choses, les femmes s'intéressent parce qu'elles estiment qu'on est deux. Donc, quand tu fais quelque chose, il faut que je sois là. Hein. Et donc, ce n'est pas évident pour les femmes d'évoluer dans le domaine des technologies. Sauf que lorsqu'une femme accède aux technologies, elle a un impact plus important pour la société que lorsque c'est un homme. Lorsqu'une femme sait utiliser les technologies pour créer de la valeur, de l'argent, elle a un impact social et même économique beaucoup plus important. Donc il est primordial pour nous autres qui sommes dans le domaine de la formation, de l'accompagnement, de régler ce problème, de faire en sorte qu'il y ait beaucoup plus de femmes qui soient formées. Et donc notre travail consiste à expliquer à ces entreprises-là qu'il serait important pour elles-mêmes, si elles veulent gagner de l'argent, de faire intégrer les femmes que nous sommes en train de former, bien entendu, en nous basant sur leurs problématiques. Je dirais les problèmes que ces entreprises-là ont. Lorsqu'on a mis en place Chizeco, pour nous, il s'agissait de former jusqu'à 50 000 femmes dans 15 pays. Et d'après nos calculs, avec ce groupe de personnes-là, sur les 10 ou 15 prochaines années, on allait sentir un changement, en tout cas, au niveau du domaine des technologies dans nos pays africains. Et même, on allait sentir un impact, même si ce n'est pas le même impact de l'agriculture, mais on allait sentir un impact sur le développement économique. Alors, est-ce qu'on a réussi, après avoir formé 1000 personnes, parce qu'il faut qu'on multiplie maintenant par 5 ans ce qu'on a fait en 3 ans. Nous sommes en train de chercher les moyens et les stratégies pour le faire. Mais lorsqu'on regarde ce qu'on a fait aujourd'hui en Côte d'Ivoire, je suis plutôt satisfait et même je suis plutôt au-delà même de mes espérances parce que les femmes qui ont été formées, au lieu de tout simplement utiliser ce qu'elles ont appris pour gagner de l'argent, ce qu'elles font déjà, ce sont ces mêmes dames-là qui vont dans les écoles parler aux enfants, qui vont dans les associations parler aux bénévoles et aux volontaires pour leur expliquer comment est-ce qu'ils peuvent utiliser, ne serait-ce que Facebook pour faire connaître leurs actions et leurs activités. Imaginez-vous qu'on ait 50 000 personnes qui sont capables de faire ça dans nos pays. Imaginez-vous que 50 000 personnes puissent en moins de 3 ou 4 ans impacter 100 personnes pour que ces personnes puissent utiliser les technologies. Imaginez le nombre de cybercriminels qui va diminuer. Parce que vous n'êtes pas sans savoir que la Côte d'Ivoire et principalement l'Afrique de l'Ouest sont une région dans laquelle on utilise très très mal les technologies. Je veux dire, on utilise de manière illégale. Mais c'est parce que les gens manquent d'informations. Les gens ne savent pas que, par exemple, un architecte logiciel en Europe, aux États-Unis, peut gagner jusqu'à 500 000 $ l'année. 500 000 $, ça fait plus de 40 000 $ le mois. Hein? Ce que touche à peu près les footballeurs d'élite. Ouais, donc c'est parce que les gens ne savent pas qu'ils utilisent mal les technologies. Donc j'espère qu'avec le travail que nous sommes en train de faire là, vous avez le site, c'est vrai que là il est en anglais, mais vous avez une version en français. Vous pouvez partager le lien et puis en tout cas parler de ce que nous sommes en train de faire parce que certes nous sommes en train de le faire avec notre vision, mais on ne le fait pas uniquement pour nous, on le fait pour vous, on le fait pour vos entreprises, on le fait pour nos pays, on le fait pour l'Afrique. Je vais m'arrêter là. Merci.
Merci beaucoup Patrick et Jean, qui est du programme YALI. Et ce fut un grand honneur de parler à suite du président Obama. Je suis sûr qu'il a été très honoré. Voilà. Merci beaucoup Patrick pour le travail fait. C'est vraiment une grande contribution en tant que jeune et dans la construction, n'est-ce pas, de cette nation et de toute l'Afrique et de tout le monde entier. Voilà. Merci bien Patrick. La prochaine personne sur notre liste sera Caroline Chirabo. Is that the way to pronounce it?
No, it's Chirabo.
Chirabo. Voilà, donc elle s'appelle Caroline Chirabo, with the accent on the chi, right? Okay. Bien, donc, elle est de Mercy Corps. Okay, nous n'avons pas eu de biographie assez étendue, mais je pense qu'elle est de Mercy Corps. Elle est de Mercy Corps, donc nous allons lui donner la parole pour qu'elle nous donne aussi son expérience en tant que femme africaine, en tant que leader, entrepreneur, et que nous puissions, n'est-ce pas, en tirer des leçons. Nous appelons maintenant Caroline Chirabo.
Good morning, everybody. I only studied French in high school very many years ago, and it has slowly faded because I do not live in this beautiful country. I'm happy that it is my first time in West Africa and that I've started it off in the beautiful city of Abidjan. Thank you very much for welcoming me. Okay. So I work with Mexico, but I'll introduce myself a little bit in what context I do that. I have been working in the investment finance space in Africa for over 10 years now. And I focus a lot on investing in businesses run by Africans in Africa. And over my years of doing this work, I have found distinctly that some of the characteristics that have just been described about women exclusion in agriculture are also very apparent in the business sector. But also I agree that women, as being very good at absorbing and implementing knowledge, is also something that we see across the board. And I think that's something we see everywhere in the world. It's a no-brainer. You put the knowledge in a woman's lap and it's going to be put to use. And so I've had the very distinct pleasure of working with a lot of women-led businesses and women-owned businesses in my career, and I have always seen distinctly that they always participate better, although they do struggle more when it comes to raising finance. So in Mexico, as you probably know, it's such a big organization doing a lot of non-profit work and doing a lot of humanitarian and supporting different initiatives in countries. A couple of years ago decided that we want to do things that are more private sector focused while still creating impact, but addressing some of the key challenges in the entrepreneurship space in a lot of emerging markets, with Africa as a very big focus. And we started our work investing in early stage businesses in East Africa. And I have the distinct pleasure of saying that after 4 years doing this in East Africa, we are officially going to start investing in West Africa this year. Because we know that Africa as a market is growing and the entrepreneurship space is growing, but who is best positioned to start supporting and investing in this early talent if it is not the people who have been investing time and knowledge in this part of the world for a very long time? So you must be thinking it's very weird for an NGO to say we're actually going to commercially invest in businesses, but we decided we're going to take that step and create impact as much as possible in different sectors and different facets. So exactly what do we do? So we find businesses that are being created either in agriculture, financial inclusion, last mile distribution, and youth employment. Those are the 4 sectors we focus on. And when we are looking at a business, we look at very distinct things, that it is running as a business, it has a business model that is scalable and sustainable, but above all, that business model will create impact. So what that means is we mainly focus on businesses creating products and services that serve people who are excluded from those services. So it would be more rural-based people or people living more at the bottom of the pyramid. I really hate that description, but I like to say to serve people who are excluded. So one of the businesses that we've worked with for a couple of years now is Rita's business, Farm Drive. And when we met Farm Drive, they were really starting, and we position ourselves as that fund which takes that risk to start with that entrepreneur at the time when no one else is going to listen to you. Everyone else will be asking you how much revenue, what's your traction, and we are looking at a founder and saying, this idea, this founder, look like this can take off. So we are positioning ourselves to put in both money into your business, but we also bring a lot of support, consulting, engagements, post-investment support, connections to scaling partners, and just a world of knowledge. And a good example is with just what she said. So Farm Drive is on the AgriFin DigiFarm platform, which is also something that's a Mexico initiative. And I'm a very firm believer that if you just give a business money, you're not going to transform it. If your money comes with knowledge, support, and partnerships, then there is a very high chance that you're going to see success. But then that for me is a true investor. Not someone who's going to give you money, ask for a high interest rate and collateral only for you to get behind and they just come to sweep your property and your livelihood away. So I don't believe that. And so that's why for us, what we call this type of investing is impact investing for that purpose itself. So we will invest equity in a business, but we stay with the business for say 8 to 10 years. So it's very patient money. We're not asking for immediate payback. We are committed to walking that tough journey with an entrepreneur who has decided to focus on Africa and make sure we see you grow and see you succeed. And we've had very interesting success stories. We've also had a few, not very successful, but we can say confidently that from each business that we invest in, we learn a lot. And where do women fall in this? I mean, for one fact, we've supported one women-led business, but we have decided that as a fund, we're going to design a very focused gender lens approach to how we invest. And so we are focusing on this in 2 ways. So one, we want to very distinctly look at products and services that are serving women as customers or women as beneficiaries or women as participants in the value chain of creation of those products and services. And secondly, women-led businesses. And what we're doing very distinctly is, even if a business is being founded by a man, when we get in and we're doing our due diligence, that is one of the questions we are asking them, is how are you formulating your understanding of women as customers? Because research actually shows that while, let's say, a rural woman does not make the financial decisions, they are more focused on products and services that actually improve the livelihood of the household. And I'm not sure about West Africa, but where I come from, in Uganda, it's very commonplace that the women are in the farm toiling, and the men sell the produce, and then the men go off and drink. So we have such a big challenge with that, where the money is not actually going for those improved household. And when it came to things like distributing solar products to rural households, it was this big push by women-run credit organizations. I don't know if you have that here. We call them circles, but women save money together, and then together they decide how to use that money. And that's how women independently pushed for like solar lamps to enter the house by force, but something they could independently do together. So there is clear evidence that we make things happen. And so we're making sure that our entrepreneurs are focusing on that, because there is one, a business case for it, but two, there is an impact case for it. And so that's how we're focusing on women. And actually, I mean, this is not really my announcement to make, but it's later this year in December, there will be a big Africa Summit for Gender Lens Investing in Ghana, and I'm sure it will go around, and we'll make sure that we connect with the organizers of AGOA to make sure that more and more women can attend that, because it's for women and it's really about bringing people together to understand how investing in women is beneficial. But it's going to be a huge summit with investors and businesses from around Africa. And I think if you can attend that in December, please do. And I think in regard to AGOA and how AGOA can participate, I think AGOA is positioned to really be a platform where women entrepreneurs can be found. The biggest question I get asked by investors, it's still a fact that most of the money coming into Africa is DFI money. But the question I'm always asked in forums when I'm pushing for investing women, where are the women, is we can't really find women entrepreneurs. Oh, they're not at pitch days, they're not doing this. And, I think organizations like AGOA can do that, right? We have, so many women producing so much. But how do we get the investor community to tap into that and say, okay, this is a platform that if I want to find a woman-led business in any part of Africa, I can start at AGOA. And maybe that positioning could be one of the things that we do. And also, just help the entrepreneurs understand, the benefits of relating with organizations also in different parts of the world. But I think even collaboration within the African continent, for me, will create more benefit than just trying to tap into markets that are outside Africa. Maybe that's not the best thing to say at a forum like this, but I think if we start with our own collaboration, and then we become a stronger force when we are speaking to the people outside the continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your endeavor and your contribution to development in Africa, and for helping those young women, and why not also men? Yeah, because we addressing to all men. Okay, the next person we are going to have here is going to be Tattoo Gatere. Is that the right pronunciation? Tattoo Gatere? All right, you want to say something about her? Maybe introduce her? Okay, all right. So I have the honor and the pleasure to introduce you. Okay, so Tattoo Gatere is an architect and a co-founder of COO of Builders. She manages all aspects of the implementation and development of Builders and product and support functions to facilitate the implementation of the organization strategy. She has over 10 years experience in the built environment sector and has focused on her career on exploring the intersection of culture and the built environment both locally and internationally in a variety of socio-economic and cultural contexts, linking her architectural background to human-centered participatory design, community engagement, and investment to facilitate physical, social, and economic development. Prior to joining Builder, Tattoo held the role of Kenyan Country Director at Concurry Design Initiative, an award-winning design and community development non-profit. So I'm going to give the floor back to Nelly, maybe to say a few things about her before we go.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwaje. Before Tattoo comes up to speak to us, there's a short video about the enterprise she has started. It's very powerful. I'm just going to ask if possibly some translation can happen concurrently. It would be great. If not, no problem. It's a short video for 3 minutes. Thank you.
One day, this incredibly inspiring woman, Helen, who lived nearby, came to our site gate and asked if she could volunteer to learn the same skills that we were teaching the men. And I said to Helen, well, you can come on this site, but you're going to earn the same, provided you work just as hard. And Helen represents many of the women that we now seek to help. She was living below the poverty line, she had a high number of dependents, and no active father figure. Helen brought 12 of her friends onto that project, all female, in the first week. And fast forwarding to the end of the project, they became the most highly skilled, the most hard.
Okay.
One day, this incredibly inspiring woman, Helen, who lived nearby, came to our site gate and asked if she could volunteer to learn the same skills that we were teaching the men. And I said to Helen, well, you can come on this site, but you're going to earn the same, provided you work just as hard. And Helen represents many of the women that we now seek to help. She was living below the poverty line, she had a high number of dependents, and no active father figure. Helen brought 12 of her friends onto that project, all female, in the first week. And fast forwarding to the end of the project, they became the most highly skilled, the most hardworking, and the most valued members of our team. And so Helen really sparked in me something that we now carry forward into Builder, which is the power that women have to make a difference in all walks of life, but particularly on what is a very gender unequal construction industry.
My name is Tattoo. I am the co-founder and managing director of Builder. My journey with Builder is both a professional and personal one. I was born and raised in Kenya, but educated in the States. About 7 years ago, I was questioning what my education and background could contribute to my culture. My journey with Builder started in Kibera. The training programs that we run with the men and women in the settlements in construction skills, life skills, and mentorship showed great results in how it impacted their lives, both personally and professionally. So seeing how it changed their mindsets, it drove them to ask questions about the decisions they were making in everyday life, led me to believe that training programs had the capacity to create greater impact than most other development projects.
Wengi wetu sisi ni mahasla na tuko na watoto. Wengi wetu sisi ni single mothers. Tuko tunajua ni kuhustle. Hii ni kitu tumekuja kujua baadaye juu tuko na mzigo na ikakuwa ni yule mtu mwenye anataka kujituma anataka kuchoka. Lakini kama utaki kuchoka, mademu walikuwa wanaenda kwa strip, wanaenda stripper, unapata wengine wanadidia huko. Kitu kama mimi vile nilisikia naweza pata skill kitu kinaweza change life yangu. Mimi ndo nilikuwa kwanza kwa kutoka. Nikasema nataka kubadilisha maisha yangu, nataka kubadilisha maisha ya familia yangu na kijiji cha Korokosho kwa jumla.
When we are able to address the blocks, both cultural and economic, that face our communities, we're able to achieve greater results.
The first target of Builder is to grow to a scale that builds that self-sufficiency into the model. So we see that as being about 15 to 1,800 women graduating in a single year from a single facility here in Nairobi. After that, we want to replicate that model widely across the country.
Hi, I'm Tatu.
And I'm James.
We are Builder.
And this is our innovation.
Okay, thank you. I apologize for not having that in French or not speaking French. But if you come to Nairobi, I'll teach you Kiswahili. Then we'll be equal. So Builder empowers women from informal settlements with accredited construction skills to lead to greater financial prosperity while working to promote gender equity within the construction industry, and also change male attitudes about women and how they participate in the built environment. My co-founder, James, and I are both architects, and we were very moved. I'm from Nairobi, born and raised, but was educated in the United States, so I'm an AGOA product. But we were very moved about how we were building and who was building. Women are not involved, and the quality of what we are building is questionable. Okay? So, I'll just continue. Okay. So, we are currently located in Nairobi, Kenya, in an industrial area that is very close to a number of informal settlements where there are high rates of crime and unemployment. Okay. This work that we do is important to us for two major reasons. The first, as I mentioned, is the rate of urban population growth and the quality of the built environment. We know that there are going to be 2.2 billion people living in Africa. 50% of those people will live in cities. How are we building? What are we building? Who is involved? But the second reason that's important to us is the limited opportunities that are available to youth and women from low-income communities. We see that there is empowerment of women, but we question why it is usually along traditional routes of our industry, whether it's textile or agriculture. We value those areas, but we believe the future is STEM, is science, technology, engineering. If women aren't involved, that means 50% of the population are being left out. So Builder is structured as a 4+8 program. 4 months of our program is held in a workshop, very intense, Monday to Friday, where we train the women in basic technology skills, in terms of hands-on skills training, but also life skills. They then transition into 8 months of paid employment training where they continue to learn as they earn money. We give the women a stipend during their 4 months because we understand that the women in our program have challenges accessing training programs due to the requirements and challenges they face in terms of supporting children and households. They then repay us back that stipend in 8 months. How we recruit women is also very important. We recruit them through community-based organizations. We recruit them through community-based organizations. You can see this picture up here. We work with organizations and NGOs who have worked in informal settlements for a number of years. People who already understand the community and the needs of their community. We take the women through a very intensive application process, not really to question their education capacity, but their willingness to go into this program and to give it the full attention it requires. Once the women are selected, we then put them through the 4 months of training and then into employment, as I said earlier. Our curriculum is focused on both life skills and technical skills training because we understand that employment skills alone are not enough. We understand that these women come with numerous challenges, whether it's social challenges or economic challenges, that hinder them from living healthy and productive lives. And we feel this is an issue that governments and investors need to consider when talking about upskilling, training, and creating job opportunities for women. We also invest in collecting data to track our performance and to test our assumptions. We gather this data from each cohort, and that is from the recruitment throughout the 12 months of training and up to 1 year after the women graduate. Today, we see remarkable progress of our trainees, and we're also tracking this progress as they transition into employment, the impact it has on their families and the communities. We also share our learnings with industry employers as well as government to help advocate for equity and inclusivity in the TVET and construction sector. Where we see ourselves in the next 2 to 5 years is starting to add support structures to look beyond employment placement and help our graduates succeed as entrepreneurs, helping them to start and grow their businesses. We also see a need and seek to provide access for them to financing, mentorship, business development, project management skills, and other resources that enable them to participate in the industry from a position of leadership. Our vision for our graduates is for them to work together as groups, hire other Build-Her graduates, create subcontracting teams to access both government and private sector contracts. We understand that these additional areas will require new partnerships, additional organizational support, and investment, but we also know that these are areas that will help women advance equally and be equally represented in the construction industry. So for us, where does AGOA come in? It's in terms of increasing the skill capacity, accessing the machines, the technology we need to get the women to a place where they can compete, not just in Kenya, not just in East Africa or Africa, but globally. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tatu. I hope that with our speakers, we have listened to many ideas, opportunities for partnerships, gained an understanding of any gaps or barriers that young people, young women, young men are facing. And maybe there will be opportunities where we can work together to address some of this. We also need to come up with recommendations that we can present to our governments, to the AGOA framework, in terms of how we can reduce some of the barriers that we're listening to. Some of them are located within our own countries, others maybe between, within the policy space. But let us begin to work together to see how we can overcome some of these barriers. For now, we begin a question and answer session. I will invite Dr. Kwade to manage this session in French so that we are able to articulate our issues much better. Yeah, thank you.
Bien, donc nous allons passer aux questions et réponses. Ce qui va se passer, c'est que nous allons prendre une série 3 questions. Si le temps nous le permet, 3 fois. Donc ça veut dire qu'on doit prendre 9 personnes. Ok, donc on va ouvrir la série des questions. Bon, on va être assez démocratique, on va faire 3 comme ça, et puis après on revient comme ça. Oui, madame. Jocelyne Siloué. Deuxième personne. Oui, madame.
Docteur Binaté Fofana.
Docteur Binaté Fofana. Ok, d'accord. Une troisième personne. On va prendre derrière un peu. Oui, madame, là-bas. Allez-y. C'est quel nom? Vous? Zénab. Ok. Zénab. Voilà. Donc nous avons les 3 personnes pour cette série. Jocelyne, s'il vous plaît. Allez-y.
Bonjour à tous. Bonjour à toutes. Alors, vraiment, je voudrais remercier encore l'AGOA de la 18e édition de ce forum qui nous a associés et qui nous a vraiment invités à partager ce bon moment que je viens de vivre en tout cas. Alors, je voudrais féliciter aussi les panélistes et en particulier féliciter notre ami francophone parce que quand même, on est dans un pays francophone, voilà, et je le soutiens. Alors, je suis présidente de ma co-fondation, Jocelyne Siloué, je ne suis pas fatiguée, et nous avons quelques modules en ce qui concerne l'entrepreneuriat, la formation, parce que nous nous disons qu'en fait, le problème, c'est vrai qu'il n'y a pas d'accès au financement, mais il y a aussi le changement de paradigme qu'on doit avoir. Il y a la mentalité qui doit changer parce que d'expérience, parce que ça fait près de 10 ans que nous sommes dans cette activité, nous voyons que lorsque nous octroyons des prêts ou nous arrivons à insérer des jeunes dans des structures, eh bien, au niveau de leur aptitude, ils n'arrivent pas à fructifier ces dons-là. Donc il fallait apporter un apport en ce qui concerne la formation dans toutes sortes de domaines tels que le leadership, tels que l'entrepreneuriat, ainsi de suite. Alors ma question est aux seuls francophones, bien sûr, par solidarité, je le répète. Alors monsieur, vous avez parlé de votre structure et vous avez aussi évoqué la formation, surtout la formation, parce que par votre expérience, vous avez vu que c'est vrai que vous avez peut-être passé par des moments un peu difficiles, mais lorsque vous transmettez, vous voyez cela se reproduire et vous comptez même faire 50 000 formés. Voilà. Comment, quel a été votre moteur? Qu'est-ce qui vous a vraiment motivé à continuer, à rebondir, voilà, par rapport à tous ces échecs que vous avez vécus? J'ai bien envie d'entendre cela et après même échanger avec vous parce que vous m'intéressez, vous intéressez ma structure en tout cas. Merci.
Bien, avant que M. Ouman ne réponde, je vais vous demander d'être bref dans la question. Je vais être le timekeeper. 1 minute pour poser la question, sinon je vais vous arrêter. Voilà, donc pour qu'on puisse aller aux 3 séries de questions. Merci M. Ouman pour y aller.
En même temps?
Oui, en même temps. Oh, let's take all of them first. Ok. La deuxième personne est Dr. Binaté Fofana, s'il vous plaît, pour votre question. Elle a un micro.
Merci.
Je vous en prie.
Je voudrais expliquer que j'ai eu. Je voudrais vraiment. Je suis Dr. Binaté Nanizata, c'est mon ministre. Je suis la directrice générale en charge des femmes au ministère de la Femme, de la Famille et de l'Enfant. Donc, vous voyez, je suis très heureuse d'être là et surtout de partager cette expérience dans les autres pays. Ma question, c'est au niveau de Agrifine. Je voulais savoir concrètement les femmes, parce que nous savons que la majorité de nos femmes vivent en milieu rural et nous savons aussi que dans nos pays, nous n'avons pas facilement accès à Internet. Et donc, comment ces femmes-là arrivent, n'est-ce pas, à s'inscrire sur la plateforme et pour pouvoir avoir accès au financement? Je voudrais aussi m'adresser à mon jeune frère, parce que ce qu'il fait est très important. Ce que je voulais savoir, est-ce que parmi vos populations cibles, est-ce que vous avez fait un clin d'œil aux femmes qui vivent en milieu rural? Parce que nous savons que la majorité de nos femmes vivent en milieu rural et sont dans le secteur agricole. Donc il est important pour ces femmes-là, n'est-ce pas, de pouvoir renforcer leurs capacités pour qu'elles puissent non seulement produire, mais comme on parle en termes de chaîne de valeur, voilà, comment est-ce que vous pensez à ces femmes-là? Sinon, moi je pense que c'est le lieu de vraiment... Et je voudrais féliciter tous les panélistes pour vos brillantes interventions. Merci.
Merci, Dr. Binaté. Nous allons passer à la troisième personne, Zénab. Zénab est quelque part? Ok. Allez-y.
Thank you. My name is Zainab from AWEP, West Africa. So my question is for, the third lady.
Rita.
Yeah, Rita. So I've been an aggregator in Nigeria with Cellulite, and we really dealt with just men at the farm gate, for instance. And yes, there are some fintech programs which are ongoing. But then my question really is, how does one localize the outreach to women, for instance, in the continent, by really keying into the fintech sector, especially as a lot of women have mobile phones? So just to make fintech solutions more accessible and more localized, how would you go about that? Thank you.
Merci encore pour vos questions. Pour répondre à la première question, il s'agissait de savoir comment est-ce que j'arrivais à être motivé. Bon, là c'est pas évident. Hein. Effectivement, ce n'est pas évident parce que ce qui se passe, c'est que personnellement, aujourd'hui, je consacre presque tout mon temps à cette activité-là. Ce qui implique qu'il faut trouver le moyen de vivre cette activité. Et toujours garder en tête qu'on veut faire quelque chose qui a un impact social et qui prend en compte les réalités du terrain. C'est-à-dire, la plupart des jeunes filles de moins de 35 ans dans nos pays, en tout cas dans notre pays ici, la plupart n'ont pas d'activité génératrice de revenus. Certes, il leur arrive d'avoir des revenus d'une manière ou d'une autre, mais ce n'est pas évident d'en trouver qui ont des activités génératrices de revenus. Alors, l'une de mes motivations, et là c'est très personnel, c'est que j'ai 3 filles, moi-même. J'ai 3 filles, je suis le fils d'un ancien instituteur, et je n'ai jamais imaginé qu'un jour j'allais être en train d'enseigner quoi que ce soit à quelqu'un, parce que je voyais comment mon père souffrait quand on était dans la région de Séguéla en train d'essayer de faire comprendre des choses simples à des gens. Et quand j'ai commencé, je me suis dit, waouh, donc c'est comme ça que les gens vont souffrir pour expliquer des choses à mes enfants. Donc si je veux qu'à leur tour, les gens n'abandonnent pas, il ne faudrait pas que moi non plus j'abandonne. Et je me dis aussi que ce monde dans lequel on vit est assez incertain. On ne sait jamais quel héritage on peut laisser à ses enfants. J'aimerais qu'un jour, si je ne suis pas là, qu'elles grandissent en tant que femmes qui, en tout cas, qui n'a peur de rien ou de personne, qui prennent des initiatives juste en se rappelant ce que leur père a fait. Voilà, donc il y a ce côté-là. Et il y a aussi ma mère. Hein. Il y a ma mère, elle est hyper impliquée. Ce matin, elle n'a pas pu venir. Sinon, la plupart du temps, quand j'ai une conférence ici à Abidjan, elle est assise devant. Si vous partez dans le groupe Facebook, vous regardez dans le groupe Facebook dans lequel on donne les informations à nos dames qui sont formées, elle est dedans. Des fois, elle m'appelle, elle me dit, mais j'ai vu que tu as dit ça sur Facebook, il faut rectifier, parce qu'on ne parle pas comme ça des femmes. Voilà. Donc, j'ai un coach permanent qui fait que, des fois, elle m'appelle, elle m'a dit, ah, est-ce que cette année-là même, tu as gagné de l'argent? J'ai dit, non, c'est pas grave, mais ça, il ne faut pas arrêter. Alors que je me souviens que quand j'avais mon entreprise, des fois, elle me disait, alors il faut arrêter et puis retourner en Europe, parce que là-bas, tu gagnais plus d'argent. Depuis que j'ai commencé cette affaire, elle me dit, n'arrête pas. Chaque fois, elle m'appelle, des fois à 4 h du matin, hein, comme elle le faisait quand j'étais enfant. Est-ce que tu as fait ceci? Est-ce que tu as fait cela? Bon, avec quelqu'un comme ça, c'est très très difficile de s'arrêter. Voilà. Une autre motivation, c'est qu'aujourd'hui, par exemple, sinon hier, elles m'ont fait savoir qu'il y avait un souci, il y avait besoin de personnes pour organiser le concours de pitch. Et j'ai dit, bon, moi je peux trouver des gens. On m'a dit qui? J'ai dit des gens de chez The Code. Et dès que j'ai envoyé un SMS, les dames qui ont déjà été formées à chez The Code, qui ont trouvé déjà un emploi, qui entreprennent, elles m'ont dit, c'est pour une cause commune, c'est pour du bénévolat, il n'y a pas de problème, demain matin à 8 h on est là. Et donc si vous regardez celles qui sont en train de faire l'enregistrement, ce sont les femmes de chez The Code. Elles parlaient de changement de paradigme. Souvent les gens disent que les femmes n'aiment pas contribuer là où il n'y a pas l'argent. En fait, c'est parce qu'on ne leur a pas appris qu'il y a des choses qu'on peut faire sans qu'on gagne de l'argent maintenant, mais ça peut créer des opportunités d'une part pour soi-même, mais pour les gens qu'on veut impacter ou pour les gens qui sont autour de nous. Donc ces dames-là, elles sont venues à 3. Il y en a une qui a un business, elle a dit, ah mais si on peut s'enregistrer maintenant, moi je m'enregistre pour le concours de pitch. Ouais, donc quand je vois tout ça, je ne peux pas m'arrêter. Hein. Et pour répondre à la question du docteur, pour l'instant, la forme dans laquelle nous sommes ne nous permet pas de faire 6 mois avec les femmes qui sont en milieu rural, parce que ça coûte beaucoup d'argent. L'une des choses à laquelle je tiens, c'est que personne au niveau de Chiffre de Code ne doit faire 1 ou 2 heures de travail sans être rémunéré. Parce que si je veux inculquer cette notion de création de valeur et de vivre de ce dont de son art, je suis celui qui doit donner l'exemple. Je suis celui qui doit montrer que même quand une femme vient s'asseoir pendant 2 heures pour expliquer quelque chose à une autre femme, même quand c'est dans le domaine du social, il faut que cette femme-là puisse retourner à la maison avec un peu d'argent ou des biscuits pour ses enfants. Voilà. Donc pour l'instant, je n'ai pas encore trouvé le modèle, mais avec quelqu'un comme ma maman et puis des personnes comme vous, je pense que je vais trouver le modèle. Aujourd'hui, certaines des formatrices de Chiffre de Code sont celles qui ont été formées en 2016. Ouais. Donc on se retrouve maintenant avec une chaîne. Hein, et j'espère que quelques-unes vont, en tout cas, un jour me dire, ah, monsieur Ouman, nous on va utiliser 1 semaine de notre temps pour aller parler à une femme dans le milieu rural. Avec votre aide, bien entendu. Merci.
On the question of whether DigiFarm requires internet, it does not. Farmers do not need access to internet to be able to use the DigiFarm platform. You just need a basic, very basic phone. The cheapest phone you can find in the market is able to access it, DigiFarm, and they do so by dialing a code. You key in a code, *283#, and then they can register to become members of DigiFarm.
On the question around how do you localize some of these digital solutions, how do you make them work for the women? And I think it starts, from our experience, it starts all the way from how you're marketing the product. Who are you using as the people who are going to market and try and recruit customers on board? I think with our work, especially with the DigiFarm product, we saw that when you send mostly men out there to be the ones who are recruiting clients to come on board, then you're more likely going to actually be onboarding fewer and fewer women. So it starts from you thinking about how are you going to market this product. So yes, you have a product that could potentially work for the women, but how do you market it? The other thing is, even as you're designing the product, are you getting the involvement of women as we do a lot of just human-centered design. Are you going out and speaking with women, engaging with them as you're designing your products? One of the things we learned is that even with the loan products, it's not a one-size-fits-all. So we end up offering different products that work for, it could be different value chains, it could be even just different groups. And when you listen to, I think Lucy alluded to one of the findings that women are not taking up this loan product, and it's because they prefer saving. So that's another opportunity to start differentiating your product and add a savings product, and then it becomes more attractive to women, for example. Another issue that comes up a lot, especially when you come to loans that are not being paid back, you hear a lot of issues around, oh, my child got sick, so I had to spend that money to actually take them to the hospital, or I was not able to work, and since I needed to take care of my child. So it's, you innovate and you think about health is coming up as an issue. So how can we add that as a component of our product so that this farmer can make some savings so that they're not necessarily taking up big loans to cover all their financing costs. Just listening to them and differentiating and evolving your products to actually address the different issues that come up.
Yeah, we face that challenge as well as we work with our partners, the women. We don't even know where to find women. women don't come to the shopping center, women don't show up at trainings. So we found one of the ways we could find women within the villages is through their savings groups, or what I think in West Africa we call them the susus. So they are meeting during when they are doing their table banking or their savings group. That is an opportune time to reach out to women with even agricultural or financial messages. And through that they were able to come out as farmers and speak about their needs. And through that we can also organize to meet the larger community as well, within the villages. Through the susus, you organize a bigger meeting where they invite the other members of the community, especially their husbands, and you can begin to talk about the different roles that men and women play within agriculture and their importance and why we should reach both of them because of the different roles. Those are the things, some of the methods that we have used within the agricultural supply chains.
Ok, donc nous avons fini la première série, mais je rappelle qu'on a utilisé autour de 13 à 14 minutes pour ces 3 questions, pour la réponse, questions-réponses, et nous avons seulement 12 minutes pour finir. Donc nous allons prendre 2 questions, et si nous finissons avec les 2 questions, on verra s'il y a 1 minute ou 2 minutes, on verra. Donc on va prendre 2 questions. On va prendre un homme au moins, hein? Un homme, et puis ensuite, parce que j'ai eu 3 femmes, 3 de nos moments. Oui, monsieur, c'est quel nom? Monsieur Rachid. Ok, donc un Rachid. Wow. Oui, madame, elle avait levé la main. Allez-y, c'est madame Scott. Okay. Bien, donc nous allons avec monsieur Rachid, rapidement.
My name is Rashid. Now my question is posed to the construction women that spoke last. Well, actually, the first part is going to be a question per se, and the other one can be like a suggestion. But now, when you said closing the gap of competition between men and women, when I look at the pictures, I saw there is men teaching the female. Are you saying men are only meant to teach them? They are not parts. They cannot join. Now, that's the question part. The other part has to do with, I think we need to drop the issue of men equity or whatever. It actually brings about women going extra mile to be strong. I don't really want women to be strong because when they do, they struggle beyond normal. Let them enjoy life. If they have somebody that is responsible to give them the life, otherwise they are not going to be running to be strong and then be feeding one person that is at home that is not ready to work or that is not ready to provide. I understand today, nowadays, the need to pay the bill have made a lot of women going to the field, but that one is not an excuse for any man not to do the right thing. So the issue of competition, we can drop it. We can say we want them in the construction company, not because they have been denied.
Okay, thank you for your contribution for the second part. Okay, let's go straight to the second question. Mrs. Scott.
Thank you, and thank you to all of the panelists for what I think was a very engaging set of presentations. I'm from Washington, D.C., from the AGOA Civil Society Network Constituency for Africa. AGOA is a preferential trade program, as we know, to encourage African exports into the U.S. on preferential terms. And the numbers have been declining generally outside of oil exports over the years. Access to everything that you guys are doing is really good and really necessary in terms of preparing the women and the youth in their productive areas, goods and services. But what I didn't hear a lot of, maybe I missed, was how you're working to ensure that those that you're working with are indeed export or near export ready, particularly for the U.S. market, which AGOA is targeting. And I'm looking at things in terms of the quality, in terms of the periodicity that we're looking for in the U.S. market. And even if you're going to export regionally or locally, because I think Caroline mentioned that local markets are also good to look at, those are questions that you probably want to address. And what are some of the gaps that are most pressing for you as you do your work in terms of looking to actually ready your groups to be perhaps export ready for the U.S. market?
Thank you so much, Mrs. Scott. Okay, so we're going to go straight to the two questions, to the two answers in 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap up and go for the launch.
Thank you. I'll try to be brief. One thing we notice is the only people who say we should give up on equity or competition is usually men. If you ask women what they think, they will never agree with you. The issues we face with the women in our program are women often putting themselves 4th or 5th or 6th in line and having limited access to resources and opportunities which actually make families suffer. Also for us, when we give a woman access, you're giving access to a whole family. So it's not so much that you're separating the woman, it's that maybe attention needs to be paid to why men do not invest in their families as much as women, because when you empower women, you empower families, and that's what we focus on. The other thing I would raise is, if you go into any TVET school, I would bet even in Cote d'Ivoire, you find men. Nobody refuses the women to enter any technical school, but women are not there. So that's why we started to ask women, why aren't you participating in an industry that's growing? And we found that the women did not feel welcome. Nobody's addressing how to reach her child to do this training. Nobody's addressing the fact that when she stops working, a large percentage of her income is missing, so she can't take care of her family and her family suffer. So we said we are willing to look at the questions that women have that nobody else is interested in. And by doing that, we are showing other TVET schools what they can do to involve women. Also, I would like to say, when it comes to being a strong Black woman and a strong Black African woman, which is what I am, I think that when I'm working hard for me and my family, if a man is not able to support that and he's being lazy, then I have to give myself the opportunity to find another man who is able to support me and what my vision is for this family. That's it.
J'aimerais rajouter quelque chose à sa suite en tant qu'homme. Effectivement, au niveau de chez nous avons eu la même expérience. Les femmes, ce n'est pas parce qu'on leur a dit de ne pas se rendre dans les filières technologiques, dans les filières liées dans les métiers de main, mais c'est parce qu'en réalité, on a mis en place un système qui les exclut d'office. Et dans ce système-là, vous avez par exemple dans des pays comme la Côte d'Ivoire, où on dit à la jeune fille depuis très tôt, ah mais c'est mieux. C'est il faut laisser les garçons, mathématiques, tout ça. On ne les oblige pas, mais on te met ça dans la tête depuis toute petite. Alors que les dames qui faisaient les calculs à la place des ordinateurs pour aller sur la Lune, c'était des femmes. Les gens qui faisaient des calculs comme des ordinateurs, c'était des femmes. Alors que c'est une femme qui est arrivée chez Facebook et qui a permis à Facebook d'arriver jusqu'à ce niveau-là. Alors que c'est une femme qui est arrivée chez Yahoo, qui a redressé Yahoo. Donc vous voyez, à un moment donné, ce n'est pas parce qu'on en fait trop, parce que jusqu'à présent on n'en fait pas assez. Et j'invite les hommes à essayer d'en faire aussi. Une chose qu'on fait à Chez Ecole, c'est que je prends ma fille avec moi chaque samedi quand je vais en cours. Elle n'a que 2 ans, je fais les cours c'est moi qui donne les cours de logiciel. Mais je veux qu'elle voie comment un groupe de femmes peut venir apprendre à utiliser les technologies. Mais je veux aussi que les dames qui ont des enfants viennent dans le concours avec leurs enfants. Donc si vous voyez dans les amphis, à les articles là où on fait nos cours, les femmes elles ont leurs enfants là, et moi je donne le cours. Et des fois on fait une petite pause parce que les enfants ont besoin d'aller faire pipi. Et ça, tu ne vas pas le trouver au lycée scientifique. Pas que j'allais après le lycée scientifique, mais c'est la réalité.
Okay, I'm going to take Ms. Scott's question. If I add any more to the women thing, we might explode.
It's a very, very good question about how do you prepare businesses on the continent for export. It is something I've actually tackled quite a lot in my career, especially in agriculture. One of the very key advantages we found with the export market is the premium pricing that comes with that. Especially in this day and age where traceability, organic farming, and really the attraction in the rest of the world for African agricultural produce. It's quite amazing now how you enter every supermarket, you enter a Starbucks, there's coffee from Rwanda, there's coffee from Ethiopia. But the question has always been on the exporter side or international market side is capacities, quantities, quality, reliability of trade partners. Who do you talk to today? Today you get a quality batch of produce, tomorrow probably it's not the same. And I think on this side of the continent it's been, how do we add as much value to agriculture that we're not just sending everything in a super primary process, but how do we add value and even just like get to a point where farmers are thinking at that high level of scale, or agribusinesses are thinking about that. Because what we found is that many businesses create first for the market they're in, and it's not very easy to get an entrepreneur really thinking, I can get this to an international market. So one of the things that we've done is real initiatives behind, like, who do we partner with in these international markets, who on one hand, yes, is interested in trade, but also understands the dynamic of the African market enough to also bring in some more value. And one of the partners I should commend, and I'm not sure if AGOA knows them, but it's called Partners in Food Solutions, which is a conglomerate of Hershey's, General Mills, Procter & Gamble, and two other big American agricultural players who have actually set up their Partners in Food Solutions as a non-profit that provides support to African businesses that are in agriculture of any kind, whether or not those products are related to their value chain. But what they're doing is they'll identify these businesses through impact investors like us, and then say, what does this business need? If you're going to invest $100,000 in this business, do they know everything about what is the best factory layout, okay? How do you optimize your procurement process with farmers? How do you aggregate? I mean, these guys are bringing in so much support, both on production and even things like administration. How do you look at your finances to know that if you're buying honey at the farm at X amount, and then you're processing, are you pricing it at the right amount to actually be profitable and grow? And that was really such an amazing initiative because these are American companies. And what they do is they get their staff together and provide the support. But ultimately the goal is that they'll start importing from these companies. And they've successfully done that with the cocoa business in Ghana. And they're now trying to do that with the honey business in Uganda as well. So thank you.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
So thank you so much to our panelists for sharing all the rich information, the ideas and experiences, and to our audience. To wrap up, I just want to highlight some key points. We have seen a few gaps in terms of what we have had and some of the questions you've raised in terms of expanding access to technology, especially for rural women, and there's the whole dimension of literacy. Already we know there's a gender gap in literacy when it comes to women and men, and when you add technology to it, you have a bigger gap to it. So we need to look at what we're doing in terms of adult literacy programs within our context and see how we can make sure that women are included in that. Funding continues to be an issue, but already we are seeing innovative ways of addressing those barriers. There's also the importance of recognizing the motivation that young people have, the skills, the passion that they have, and respecting the ideas they bring, because it's these ideas that actually give birth to innovation and new ways of doing business within the world. The need for life skills, in addition to financial skills and financial literacy, which is very important. And again, one key thing I believe that we still haven't managed to cover. We haven't managed to answer that question. How then can we tap into AGOA? And I think this is what the last question really was about. There is a gap in that, and we need support in terms of identifying very concrete pathways in terms of the way African businesses can actually tap into AGOA. That gap has been missing, has been there for a very long time. So taking forward the recommendations, I think we need people to help us to think through that based on where we are right now. So thank you so much for your attention, and do enjoy your lunch. Bon appétit, merci.
Bien, donc, merci à nos 5 panélistes qui ont été Rita Kimani, Tatu Katere, Jean-Patrick Leouman, Lucy Kyoko et puis Caroline Chira. Voilà. Bien, donc nous allons maintenant aller au lunch. On va aller au déjeuner, mais il y a une information importante à vous donner. Vérifiez que vous avez votre ticket pour le restaurant dans vos kits. Vérifiez s'il vous plaît, mesdames et messieurs, que vous avez vos tickets pour le restaurant dans vos kits. Et puis nous allons aller directement au restaurant. C'est là où il y a le hall. La restauration est là, le menu de la restauration est là. Donc merci encore. Et les échanges peuvent continuer après. Vous pouvez prendre contact avec le panélistes. Merci encore. Au revoir.
No, but I think
Young, I have a book. You're this person, right?
Yeah.
So I'm staying upstairs. I'm going to bring it down to lunch. It's called African Defined Leadership. Yes, I did it a few years ago, but I wanted to connect with you.
You don't know this.
Yes. Yeah, I'll bring it down to lunch. Sharon Freeman. I'll give you my card here. You're going to eat here now, right? I'll just run upstairs and get this. And go downstairs. Also my card.
Alors j'en ai qu'une seule.
Nous sommes des alumni.
Ah, de quel programme? Ah, ok. Alors je n'ai qu'une seule carte. Ce qu'on peut faire, c'est qu'on peut prendre en photo. Vous avez un smartphone? Vous pouvez prendre en photo. Vous savez qu'avec votre smartphone, vous pouvez récupérer les informations automatiquement. Avec une application qui vous permet de tirer les informations automatiquement à partir d'une carte.
Vous avez le code robot?
Les smartphones reconnaissent automatiquement. Et c'est des choses qu'on apprend si je veux. C'est bon.
I will keep it.